let's get started with the interview. So my first question will be, according to a report, more than 25% of enterprises in Saudi Arabia have plans in place to deploy a mix of on-premises dedicated private clouds, multiple public clouds, and legacy platforms to meet their infrastructure needs. What are your thoughts on this endeavor?
Most organizations adopt hybrid cloud so they can keep sensitive applications and data on the private cloud. That's why, and non-sensitive workload will be hosted on the public cloud. As you know, one of the main reasons is the regulation in Saudi Arabia. For example, government and semi-government entities cannot host their workload or their data out of the kingdom. So that's why the hybrid cloud module will help them, and it will fix the solution for them while keeping their private data locally hosted in the kingdom, when whatever non-sensitive data could be hosted on the public cloud wherever it's hosted outside of the kingdom. So that's why they choose to use the hybrid model.
Thank you for the answer. And I have another question. More and more people we speak to believe in the skepticism involving the adoption of newer technologies, especially the cloud and the value they bring for the future. What do you think about this and how it is affecting an overall understanding of the subject?
Okay, CIOs and technology managers in general, they need to understand the benefits of adopting the cloud while avoiding comparing it to the traditional way of hosting their workload on the prem. So moving to the cloud requires changing their mentality. They need to change their mentality regarding how the technology works, the cloud, and accepting that some changes need to be done efficiently to efficiently actually use it. I believe proper investing in the cloud can help lower the cost of IT in the short and long terms, but it's a decision. It's a decision that needs rethinking how you currently work. In the terms of the architecture, you have the security measures and the privacy measures, which are the main reasons why organizations hesitate to adopt the cloud in the first.
That makes a lot of sense. Security is seen as one of the highest risk elements in the adoption of cloud computing, although it has also been argued that there is no relationship between security and cloud adoption. What is your view on this subject?
As I mentioned before, technology leaders, they need to change their mentality while deciding to shift to the cloud. In some cases, they need to change their IT architecture to make it cloud native and to make sure to properly use the security tools provided by the cloud service provider to enable a safe migration and eventually a safe cloud-based environment. So they need to rethink their architecture design, and they need to use the tools already available in the service provider so they can achieve more secure and more private environment for their workload.
Thank you for this answer. I have just a few more questions. So one of them is technical issues such as the complexity of existing IT systems, portability and interoperability, and vendor lock-in have been identified as possible barriers to the adoption of cloud computing. What is your view on the technology barrier that negatively influences cloud computing adoption?
Okay, so I believe proper planning is required before migrating to the cloud. I believe we need to study the market, we need to compare cloud service providers, and we need to check their policies and their SLAs, etc. On the other hand, as I said again, the architecture of the current IT design needs to be reviewed by technology managers to prepare the environment for the cloud. So reviewing the SLAs, reviewing the service provider, and reviewing your architecture design, it will help overcome these barriers. You don't have to jump to the first service provider. You need to do proper planning before it.
Thank you. Just two more questions. One of them is very relevant to today's situation. In a pandemic like COVID-19, what are the most important recent developments in your field of business that you believe will have the biggest impact on the industry? What developments should the market be aware of and they are not ready?
Okay, as COVID-19 hit the world by surprise, I believe technically prepared organizations that adopted cloud computing were the first to stabilize their work and adapt to the need to making their employees work remotely. And I believe it helped providing their staff with the required tools to be able to continue their tasks with minimal interruption. Those organizations obviously were ready and have prepared the technical environment for these kinds of scenarios by implementing the necessary measures for safer remote work environment while making sure the environment is secure and private. I think adopting cloud computing was one of the main reasons many organizations were able to minimize the catastrophic impact on business during the pandemic. We all know the pandemic caused a lockdown in many key areas around the world, so those organizations were ready and their business did not have to stop. I think the biggest non-technical challenges for non-prepared organizations will be deciding to get out of the comfort zone of the legacy IT environment and to embrace the so-called mysterious cloud-based solutions and tools.
Thank you for this amazing answer. And my last question is related to the event which we are having. Tell us about the session that you are going to host at the show and how you believe it will be instrumental in creating a comprehensive roadmap for those in attendance.
Yeah, first of all, thank you for allowing me to join this session. In this session, I will be speaking, inshallah, about the importance of adopting the cloud and how the kingdom is taking the subject seriously. 2020, we believe, is the year of cloud computing in the kingdom. Everyone knows it's the year of COVID-19. We believe it's the year of cloud computing in the kingdom. Many cloud-related regulations and policies were published to help the proper adoption of technology, which I will be mentioning on the session with a bit more details, hopefully.
Thank you very much for this amazing interview. So, ladies and gentlemen, this brings us to the end of this interesting interview session with Mr. Fahad Alhamed. I would like to thank you, Mr. Fahad, for joining us, and what a pleasure was to host you today. We love your energy and enthusiasm. Also, be sure to catch Mr. Fahad speaking at the World Cloud Show KSA, taking place on 29 March 2021. You can visit our website saudi.worldcloudshow.com and register for free. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.